My oh my, New York wrestling crowds certainly are a different, unique, and very, very vocal breed, aren't they? I expect next week's show to reinforce this and then some. That Arthur Ashe Stadium atmosphere, oh boy, that's going to be fucking electric. But first, I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite from Albany, New York. This show is bookended by two AEW World Title semifinal matches where the former champion Jon Moxley looks to take the shot against fellow Blackpool Combat Club member Bryan Danielson, looking to win his first AEW championship, and it's going to be a titanic clash to decide the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion in Arthur Ashe Stadium. And if the atmosphere for next week's show can match the atmosphere for last year's show, we're in for a fucking treat. And there were some other good moments on this show. Like a fucking banger, action-packed, just thrill ride for the AEW World Tag Team Championships between Swerve and Our Glory and the Lucha Bros. It was all action all the goddamn time, and also a hell of an MJF promo. They sprinkled some finishing touches and put a little bit more excitement on next week's Arthur Ashe Stadium show, which is going to be a hell of a goddamn atmosphere, and I really hope they can match what last year's edition did. But let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. We have Excalibur, Taz, Shivani, and Regal on commentary. Regal does join for the first and the last match. No JR. Is JR on vacation? Is he okay? I hope he's okay. Wild thing, you make Albany saying huge pop for Jon Moxley. Sammy, not so much. He didn't bring Ty. Thank fuck for that. Well, a little bit more on that later. Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara. AEW World Title Tournament semifinal match. Look, let me just say right now, I saw Sammy's, like blowing up backstage promo where he wants to win the world championship. Look, Sammy had a chance to actually be, one of the pillars of this company, and he's pretty much dumbed himself out of position. There are a lot of people that really don't care what fucking happens to Sammy Guevara. The guy can do some moves, but he also likes to brain himself, and he has also proven he doesn't really have much of a fucking brain. So he can hit himself in the head multiple times, and a lot of people are going to be like, yay, okay, what else you fucking got? But anyway, here's fuck him up, Mox, fuck him up, fuck him up, Mox, fuck him up. So, one thing that I noticed when they were doing the graphics for upcoming shows, it looks like I've got somewhere to be on January 4th of next year. They're going to be at the former Key Arena, now the Climate Pledge Arena. And tickets go on sale next Friday, and I am absolutely 1,000% looking forward to it. As long as I can get decent enough seats, I'm 100% going. And a very good friend of mine, somebody that I love fucking talking wrestling with and love going to wrestling shows with, I can't wait to fucking go. It's going to be a lot of goddamn fun. I just hope that the weather is decent, because I was hoping they would come in March or April, not in January, because winters are a little bit dodgy here in the Pacific Northwest. But that being said, unless I'm snowed in, I'm fucking going. I'm locked in. And I'm absolutely going to get the best seats I possibly can. So, I'm excited for that. But let's get back to this show. So, Sammy dives outside and then slams Mox's head into the steel steps, takes over a bit, and then Moxley comes back. We get more back and forth. We get the cutter off the top just for two. Oh no, Sammy can't make the cover. Remember when he hit that springboard cutter off, springing from the ladder and then off the ladder? Remember how cool that was? Remember how great that was? And now nobody fucking cares, because again, he dumbed himself out of position. So then we get the bulldog choke, we get elbows, but then we get a catching Spanish fly for two. And then an avalanche German by Mox. And then suddenly Ty and Anna come down. Oh boy. Look, Anna's got potential. Ty's pretty much damaged goddamn goods in more ways than one. So, at one point, the referee gets distracted because Anna decides to jack it off on camera. I'll let you interpret what I mean by that. If you didn't see the show, then maybe you can imagine it however you want. Hell, you can imagine it any way you want, even if you did see the show. But then Ty comes in and does a low blow, sort of, tries to. She's a clueless twat that doesn't know what she's doing. And Sammy keeps trying to get the victory. He gets, this got really fucking messy. This got really goddamn messy. But Regal did call them harlots. Let's be honest, that pretty much only applies to Ty. And then Death Rider, 1, 2, 3. So Mox wins. Few too many shenanigans. There were some good parts of this show, but they also need to cool it on the shenanigans and not just here. So that being said, Moxley advances. That was some good stuff. And then MJF comes out in the next segment, and he's pissed, and he's telling the fans to shut the fuck. I mean, he doesn't say shut the fuck. He does say one swear. He says shit, which unfortunately has a delayed beep. Probably going to have to pay a fine for that. Maybe stop saying that stuff if, the rumors are true that the new corporate merger bosses have basically said, tone down the language, lads. Just tone it down a little bit. He says, that Mox, I'm not the same guy that you face. There's no podium here. There's no MJF 2020 thing. I'm not the same guy. Talks about Mox's childhood, that you're just like the people here in Albany. You're, poor, uneducated, and you grew up in the sticks. God, MJF's fucking great. And then he talked about him battling alcoholism. Mox, that is. He says, you beat your disease, and you deserve applause for that. But my brain is more dangerous than your disease. And then he talked about how, you talked about a certain demon, battling your demons and stuff like that, and how you didn't deserve this success and whatever. Well, you're going to prove that to be right. But he says, if you'll find out that I'm that demon. I'm a demon you can't slay. Because he's fucking brilliant. And then he introduces his stable on retainer, which is the firm, which is Stokely and co. And then he does say shit, and that gets a bit of a beep. And then Stokely, Ethan, the Guns, Lee Moriarty, and William Ass Morrissey come down. And MJF leaves. Stokely is a good talker. This feels like the NWOC team. I don't mind hitting a reset since we don't know when the EVPs are going to come back, if they're going to come back. We don't know when Punk's going to come back. And apparently he's injured. So even if all the suspensions, all the whatever, even if these investigations, whatever's going on, even if all this stuff not even goes away, but just goes by the wayside, gets solved, whatever it is, Punk ain't going to be back for a number of months. I don't think Punk's ever going to be back. I think Punk's pretty much done. That's my opinion. I would actually be shocked if the Bucks and Omega maybe weren't gone. I don't have a goddamn clue. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. All I'm going to say is I don't really miss the Elite, and honestly, if Punk's going to keep getting injured, and if he's flamed out by this point, and he has, maybe Punk doesn't need to come back. Maybe they could just shore up the numbers, sign a couple more free agents or something, or retool some things. Maybe Khan could hit the reset button and figure out some stuff. Maybe he could come up with something better than this. The Firm. I don't mind the fact that they're trying to give underutilized people something to do, but the Guns feel lost. Ethan is just in another stable because Dan Lambert, the sheepish lion Dan Lambert, is no longer there. Stokely talks about when MJF doesn't need us, we're going to all go our separate ways. So they're going to be that Journey song. He's a friend and talks gossip, and he started to lose me here because he's a good talker. I just didn't really care. And then he goes over every single person, what they're going to do. William Ass Morrissey wants to beat people up. Ethan wants the All-Atlantic Championship, and the Guns want the tag titles, and I don't think this is going to work. This feels worse than Paul Jones's Army. And for longtime wrestling fans, you will absolutely be dying laughing. And also, you know that I'm not entirely wrong. I don't have a lot of optimism for this, even with Stokely being a good talker. So, you can either run with us or run from us. You're either with us or against us is essentially, it's a tweaking the line from Bischoff. Jungle Boy then had an open contract that he signed, he'll face anybody. And then Jay Lethal apparently signed it. Sanjay is hard to take seriously. So 40 minutes into the show, by the way, we're on the second match. But with how great MJF's promo was, I'm willing to let it slide here. If you have good enough talking segments between matches, then I don't mind it. If you're just delaying, like WWE programming does, or sometimes like there's stalling, like on other programs, if you just have that and you just have filler and I still barely know her, then it gets a bit annoying. Jay Lethal with Sanjay Dutt and Giant Silva Jr., who's fucking useless. Stop having this fucking goddamn, just giant palm tree with, no charisma. I mean, or giant Easter Island statue or whatever. I'm sure he's a nice guy. This is stupid. Jungle Boy, OEOEO's out there. Look, Jungle Boy, he needs to work with more veterans. Maybe not more veterans like Lethal, because just listen to what the Ring of Honor women's locker room had to say about him. For good, bad, or indifferent, more stories are out there. Is what it is. It wouldn't be the first time that certain people were allowed in companies, despite the fact that they had certain things against them. Don Callis. But that being said, ignoring that, because they're just allegations at this point, Jungle Boy and Jay Lethal crafted a decent enough match. There was a nice sheer drop brainbuster, a dive by Lethal, an elbow for two, and then the snare trap, and then Sanjay tries interfering, and then the snare trap and Lethal taps, and that's not the only tap out that we get. And then we get training footage of Hook and Action Bronson. I'm not that invested in this, so maybe I'll save the Hook thing for next week's Dynamite Rampage Grand Slam, that is. Alright, and they're going to have a match with Parker and Menard at Rampage Grand Slam. So, Marvez is still there, and I don't know why. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he's not good. That Luigi Primo guy, the guy that was spinning the pizza dough on an indie show, was there, and then he got taken out by Ethan Page. Why? I know that Ethan is upset about, the fact he's one of the few people that takes this seriously. It is what it is. And then Danhausen shows up. They're going to have a match on Rampage. They got to figure out some things to do and cut out some of the... Because you can have a mixture of wrestling, but just it seems like they're kind of struggling to do some things, like, correct. Speaking of not doing things correct, Darby Allin continues to do stuff like, doing half pikes and racing stuff, and hopefully not dying at an event called Nitro Circus. You want to do that stuff, fine. Whatever. And I met Darby. I don't understand why anybody would do this, whatever. It is what it is. Matt Hardy then says, hey, Darby, I remember your match with Jeff, and I'm one of the originators of Extreme, going to the Extreme. Matt and Darby are going to have a match on Rampage. Matt Hardy should not be in the ring anymore. He can't fucking move. I understand he's getting paid, but goddamn. Hobbs then beat Matt Demantro, whatever. Beat him with a spine buster. Nothing against the guy, but he beat Albany's own and beat him quickly. And then we want Ricky chance. Hobbs cuts a promo, basically says, I'm done with Ricky. I want to write the next chapter in the book of Hobbs. And then suddenly Ricky comes down Scott Hall style through the crowd with a little bit of security. And then gets in the ring, hits Hobbs a few times, hits him with the mic. Hobbs tumbles out. Ricky does his pose, which I'm not going to try to do because I'm not any good at it. And because Ricky does the pose so goddamn good, it needs to be his. I mean, that's just... It's amazing how just that pose gets such a big reaction because Ricky is just that likable and just that good. All right, there we go. So then the Lucha Bros and Pac, so Death Triangle, they talk about, oh, hey, we're getting a tag title shot, or the Lucha Bros are. And there you go. Lucha Bros entrance needs more pyro. So, Lucha Bros, Phoenix and Penta with Alex Abrahantes taking on Swerve in Our Glory, Swerve Strickland, and Keith Lee. AEW World Title match, or World Tag Title match, that is. And, man, referee Rick Knox. So you know what that means. No tags are going to be enforced. And why even bother tagging? Because Rick Knox never enforces the fucking rules. That being said, positive. Let me tell you this. I really enjoyed this match. Is it one of my favorite matches of the year? No. Was it enjoyable? Yes. Was the action all over the place? Yes. Was it the typical stuff from the Lucha Bros? Yes. Was there some good stuff? Some callbacks? Yes. Like Penta and Swerve battling. It's Penta and Killshot from Lucha Underground. Remember that? Remember that? Anybody remember that Shane Swerve Strickland was Killshot in Lucha Underground? Really, really cool. So anyway... Lee just uses his power. They have to do the hit and run stuff with him. And then it's just fast and action all over the goddamn place. I'm not going to say, of course, it was perfect, but it wasn't dull. I will give them that. And at one point, Penta hits like the maid in Mexico or maid in Japan or whatever it is. And Phoenix gets tossed by Lee right into him. And then eventually a Spanish fly off the top. And while Phoenix is trying to get up, Penta says, I'm going to do a destroyer to Lee. And he does. He does a fucking destroyer to a 350-pound man. To a massive pop. That was something else. And then we get a little bit more action. Phoenix got sent off the top. And eventually Keith hit his BBC, the Big Bang Catastrophe, or whatever the fuck he's calling it now. 1, 2, 3, and there you go. They retain. The Acclaim show up. Max mocks Swerve. Says they're going to win the tag titles next week. They better put the titles on the Acclaimed. If they don't fucking put the titles on the Acclaimed here, or rather next week, it's a big fucking error. Big fucking error. As much as I love Swerve and Lee, and them turning heel, good idea. Even though I think what's going to end up happening is Swerve is going to end up turning on Lee, and it's going to be Swerve as the heel and Lee as the face, and they're going to have their feud hanging in the full gear. That's probably where they're going to go. The Acclaim got to win the tag titles. Even if they only hold them until, say, the first Dynamite in 2023, which I will be at. Watch them lose there, and then Seattle just says, haha, bullshit. Acclaimed have to win the tag titles next week. So, then Marvez tries to talk to Death Triangle, and Pac is like, put some respect on my name. And then somebody whiffs a goddamn punch. Who could whiff a goddamn punch that easily when somebody's right in front of you? Oh, it's Orange Cassidy. And he wants to face Pac for the All-Atlantic Championship. He whipped the fucking... God, why? Why is this fucking joke allowed to be on a cable broadcast show? I know some people like him, but come on. I know mistakes happen, but fucking come on. So, Britt gets a lot of pyro for her entrance, and then Tony and Athena took on Britt and Serena Deeb with Rebel, and Jamie is still pissed at Britt, and we find that out a little bit later. And look, I'm all for the women getting more time. I want there to maybe be another women's match on Dynamite on occasion. This, unfortunately, was not a match that's going to enforce that should happen because it was sloppy, and Britt has horribly regressed. Serena is good in the ring, but boring. Athena, I just don't know if it's necessarily clicking, and Tony was lost here, because what else can she really do when everybody else is lost in the fucking match? Basically, we get, a ton of ridiculousness and a melee and all this stuff, and we get a ref distraction, a stupid distraction. And Tony gets run into a chair in the corner, and then Deeb rolls her up 1, 2, 3. Great job with your champion right there. She's been champion for all of 10 fucking days, and you fucking beat her. Whatever. 9 days. 9 fucking days now that I think about it. It wasn't good. It wasn't very good. Let's move on. Oh, wait, Athena gets laid out, and then Jamie comes down with a chair, or comes down, grabs a chair, hits Tony, but is still pissed at Britt. And Jamie Hayter chants, they need to strap Jamie Hayter, just like I need Jamie to strap. Moving on from that, Jamie Hayter should be strapped up. This is getting awkward. We're just going to move on. Rampage, Joe versus Josh Woods for the Ring of Honor TV Championship. Sterling cuts a promo then. Ethan versus Danhausen. If that goes past 30 seconds, it's embarrassing. Penelope versus Willow Nightingale. Okay. And then, why hasn't Willow Nightingale been signed? I think she's signed to the Ring of Honor brand, but that doesn't really mean anything, because Ring of Honor only holds occasional pay-per-views. And then Matt Hardy versus Darby. Dynamite Grand Slam, Moxley and Danielson, because Danielson wins the next match. Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaim. Tony versus Athena versus Deeb versus Britt in a 4-way match for the interim AEW Women's Championship. And Pac versus Cassidy for the All-Atlantic Championship. Rampage Grand Slam, Hook versus and Bronson versus the former 2.0 Parker and Menard. Danielson versus Jericho, AEW World Title semifinal match. Let's make this quick. Commentary noted that Danielson has never beaten Jericho in his career. Now, Danielson fired up, hit a good flurry. Jericho kept trying to stop him. Jericho did better here than he's done in most matches, but Jericho's fucking washed. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors with him, and he's not very fucking good anymore. He had a few good moves, but no, this wasn't fucking working. Danielson had to basically, bump around like a goddamn Super Bowl. He hit the diving headbutt. No on the diving headbutt, Danielson, please. I know it's his life, it's his career. God damn it, please, no. And then Danielson hurts his ankle on a suplex to the outside. Is holding his ankle. Jericho takes the boot off, wrenching it, focusing on it, gets the Lion Tamer on, gets the figure 4, and then eventually Bryan Danielson gets the label lock on and makes Jericho tap out. And then Moxley comes out, they shake hands, and they're going to come out fighting. I think we're going to get more heel Moxley and more face Bryan Danielson. So if they reverse it and we get a little bit of a heelish Bryan Danielson, we get the flashback to that great few weeks with him as a heel, I'm all for it. So, pretty good addition, pretty good crowd. Some issues, and not everything's going to be fixed in AEW. They got a lot of problems they got to work out. But let's see how Dynamite Grand Slam goes and Rampage Grand Slam goes. But I'm so excited to buy tickets for the January 4th edition of Dynamite at the Climate Pledge Arena. I'm so fucking happy. God, I'm so fucking thrilled. So fucking thrilled. Anyway, agree, disagree what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.